Once again, the brain is a fragmented part of our body, and past experiences can torment us, causing the brain to protect us from trauma. Hi, quick recaps here. Today I'll show you a 2017 psychological thriller film called Forgotten. Watch out for spoilers, take care, and enjoy. The film begins in a car, where Jin-seok wakes up trembling and sweating profusely. He has had a nightmare, so he's quite relieved to find his mother at his side while his father and brother are exchanging pleasant stories in the driver and passenger seats. The family is en route to a new location. Upon arriving at the huge house, Jin-seok has a strange deja vu feeling like he's been there before. Jin-seok dismisses the thought when his brother, Yoo-seok, gets off the car. In all his days, Yoo-seok has held his brother in deep admiration. Not only is he academically gifted, but he does so well in outdoor activities, winning so many medals and trophies. Unfortunately, the star got into an accident a year ago, which injured his leg, and now he has a permanent limp. Despite this flaw, Jin-seok considers his brother his hero. The family gets in the house just as the movers arrive. While arranging the furniture, one man approaches Jin-seok, who had dropped a book on the floor and is retrieving it. The man asks Jin-seok if he is Yoo-seok's brother, and when Jin-seok confirms it, the man is blatantly surprised. Jin-seok notices that there is a room locked at the end of the corridor, and asks him about it. Yoo-seok tells him that the room has a few belongings of the family that lived in the house. They would pick them up in a month, so he shouldn't use the room until then. While having supper, Jin-seok hears movement and noise coming from the forbidden room directly above them, but the family denies hearing any sounds. Jin-seok's exams are coming up soon, so he retreats to his room to study. One night, Jin-seok finishes studying and decides to listen to some music. He is disrupted by noises coming from the same room, so he decides to investigate. Before he can open the door, Yoo-seok starts telling him that the room is empty. Yoo-seok takes Jin-seok out for some fresh air and a smoke. As they leave, the brothers don't see the shadow lurking behind the door. Is this a ghost story? It's raining outside, but the brothers walk a little distance and stand on a platform overlooking the city. Yoo-seok's phone rings and he picks it up. It is his father calling. Yoo-seok decides to go back home and investigate what the matter could be. He tells Jin-seok not to stay out too late. A few meters away, Yoo-jin is attacked by some men. The men beat him up before throwing him into a van. Jin-seok sees this and rushes to try to save his brother, but he's too late. Jin-seok manages to note the van's number plates and he rushes home. Jin-seok tells his parents about his brother's kidnapping, and the family calls the police. Despite Jin-seok's lead, the police do not find Yoo-seok. Now, Jin-seok eventually takes some pills for his hypersensitivity allergy, whatever that means. One night, Jin-seok sees the doctor to the forbidden room opening creepily as though someone is taunting him. Luckily, this is a dream and he wakes up. Just that moment, his parents open the door, and guess who's back? Yoo-seok. 19 days after his disappearance, Yoo-seok comes back claiming to have no recollection of who kidnapped him. Instead, he wants the family to put the ordeal behind them, as he is alright now. The family life resumes, and Jin-seok continues studying. One night, he hears his brother leave in the middle of the night, but he assumes it. The next day, Jin-seok goes to take his medicine, but they fall out of his hands and tumble under the sink. Jin-seok cannot retrieve them, so he ends up not taking his dosage for the day. That morning at breakfast, he asks Yoo-seok where he had gone the previous night, but Yoo-seok claims he was in the house the whole day. Jin-seok starts noticing discrepancies in his family. For example, Yoo-seok limps on the wrong leg, but quickly corrects it when Jin-seok points it out. Later that night, Jin-seok is asleep on his desk when his brother walks in. Yoo-seok looks at the sleeping boy with malice in his eyes before grabbing the pen on the desk and making as if to stab Jin-seok in the eye. He sets the pen down and leaves. Unbeknownst to him, Jin-seok is awake, so he quickly gets up and follows his brother. The first thing he notes is that Yoo-jin is not limping at all. He is also not wearing his glasses, which is weird because he has an eye problem. Jin-seok follows his brother all over the city until he sees him meeting up with two men. To his shock, the men are the police officers who Jin-seok had reported Yoo-seok's disappearance. What is his brother doing meeting up with cops at night? Behind him, two men catch him snooping. The men make to attack him, but Jin-seok runs away as fast as he can. After a few blocks, Jin-seok is positive he's lost the assailants when someone grabs him from behind and drugs him. Jin-seok wakes up on his desk, confused and dazed. However, he has this sick feeling in his stomach that Yoo-seok is not his brother. He rushes to the bathroom and refuses to come out, even when Yoo-seok begs him to. Yoo-seok gives up and leaves his brother to mope and cry alone. Jin-seok exits the bathroom only to be cornered by Yoo-seok, who is just outside the door. Yoo-seok convinces Jin-seok that this was all a dream. and he was having them as he had failed to take his medicine the previous day. Jin-seok feels terrible to have accused his brother of being an imposter. However, he realizes that the pen Yoo-seok had made as if to stab him with the previous night is on his table, so he realizes he's not hallucinating. He approaches his mother and tells her of the occurrence and how weird his brother is acting. His mother appears as confused as he is. Jin-seok falls asleep, and at midnight he goes to get some water from the kitchen. Unintentionally, he overhears his mother talking on the phone, saying that Jin-seok suspects them. Jin-seok is horrified to learn that his mother is in on it too. When he hears her say that she will go into his room to check up on him, Jin-seok climbs up using the steps leading to his room. By the time his mother enters the room, Jin-seok is in bed, despite being dripping wet as it's raining outside. Satisfied, Jin-seok's mother exits the room. Jin-seok wakes up ready to understand what is going on, but to his surprise, his mother has not left the room. What's wrong with his family and false exits? Jin-seok is scared and he escapes the house by escaping through the same window he so desperately climbed up. At the gate, he meets his father, who does not resemble his biological father. From inside the house, he also notes that his mother looks differently. Jin-seok hits his father attempting to run away from the crazed house. Jin-seok's father tasks a man to retrieve him, but Jin-seok escapes and reaches the police station. He reports that he has been kidnapped. The police review his data and realize that Jin-seok was born in 1976. Jin-seok confirms it by saying he is 21 years old. The police are skeptical and ask him what year he thinks it is. Jin-seok tells him that it's 1997, but the officers point to a calendar that shows it to be 2017. Jin-seok is horrified, and when he looks at himself in a mirror, he realizes he is old, 41 years old. What just happened? Jin-seok doesn't believe it until he looks around and sees signs of modern life. An LED TV showing the current president and the United States president, a smartphone, and a tablet. Jin-seok leaves the police station more confused than when he went in. He decides to go back home. Jin-seok hears music from the forbidden room and decides to investigate. When he enters the room, he's horrified to see two mannequins covered in blood, and the room set to look like a brutal murder had taken place. His family enters the room, and Yoo-seok reveals that 20 years ago, a teenager and her mother had been killed in that room. No evidence was found leading to the killer's identity, so the case ran cold. However, the family affected by the murderers hired a team to investigate, and they located Jin-seok as the culprit. Yoo-seok captured Jin-seok and tortured him to admission, but Jin-seok claimed to have no memory of the murders. A psychiatrist explains that Jin-seok may have repressed the memories because the events were too traumatic. Therefore, the group decides to hypnotize him and take him back to years before the accident, hoping he would find his memories' missing pieces. The events had to carefully align with the real events, so the room in the corner was recreated, and the events dragged on for a long time because they had to wait for a rainy day. This explains the noises he heard from the room, and the pills he had to take each day as they were supposed to keep him under hypnosis. Unfortunately, the plan goes south when Yoo-seok is arrested or kidnapped for fraud by the police. He was gone for 19 days because that's how long it took for the team to get him out. Back in the present, Jin-seok claims to have no recollection of the events, and he escapes from the car. His luck runs out as he's hit by a stranger's car. This is what brings his memories back. In the year 1997, Jin-seok is listening to music by the lake when his family calls him so they can go back home. Unfortunately, they get into a car accident that instantly kills his parents and wounds his brother severely. Jin-seok is told by the doctor that he has to raise money for his brother's operation or else he would succumb to his injuries. Desperate, Jin-seok agrees to a morbid request from an anonymous email, detailing that he murders someone's wife but leaves the kids alive. Jin-seok reaches the house and goes to see the woman he has been tasked to kill. She's in the master bedroom with her son. Jin-seok chickens out and goes to leave, but the woman wakes up. Jin-seok tells her that he will leave provided she does not scream. However, the daughter comes down the steps and screams upon seeing Jin-seok with a knife. He chases after her trying to silence her, but he accidentally stabs her. The horrified mother falls victim too when she starts screaming in anguish. Before leaving, Jin-seok encounters the son who is asking for his mother. He tells him to run into bed and count up to 100, then his mother would be back. Jin-seok realizes that it is the doctor at the hospital who had asked him to kill his wife. Jin-seok meets with the doctor later, and the doctor is angry that Jin-seok had killed his daughter. He reveals that he was in a financial crisis and wanted to collect life insurance for his wife to prevent his kids from becoming homeless. A brawl ensues and the doctor falls off the roof to his death. In the present, Jin-seok is in the hospital when Yoo-seok approaches him. He wanted to inject poison into his IV and get revenge for his family. Jin-seok apologizes for his deeds, saying he never wanted to commit the heinous crimes and his memory is back. Yoo-seok reveals he was the boy, and his relatives took all his family's money, leaving him to grow up in an orphanage, plotting vendetta. He asks why Jin-seok had not killed him too and if his father had been behind the murder, but Jin-seok takes full responsibility. Of course, the boy does not believe him. However, he refuses to kill Jin-seok, feeling the man has suffered enough. He walks out of the hospital room and jumps off the building, ending his life. Subsequently, Jin-seok injects himself with the poison. We learn that day at the lake, Jin-seok is stopped by a little 5-year-old boy who offers him a lollipop before running to meet with his family. That family was the doctors, and so their fates had been sealed from that day. Such a sad and tragic ending. But wait, have you checked out the film Forgotten? A young man loses his memories, but he has to face them after he finds himself in a made-up family. His mistakes in the past have caused great grief to a man, and the man is hell-bent on revenge. What will happen? Will fate intervene, or will the story have a tragic ending? Check it out. Also, subscribe to the channel for more recaps for your favorite movies. See you next time, and take care.